When the Americans launched the second space probe, Pioneer 10, they put the strange little drawing on board. It's designed to tell any alien species that finds it about humankind. This drawing tells them we're a sexual species. It shows where the Earth is in the solar system, and if we analyze the geometry of the drawing, it also includes much more complex information. Thousands of years earlier, the builders of the Great Pyramid did exactly the same thing as the Americans did. They too sent a coded message out into the universe, except this message wasn't designed to cross the vastness of space, but the vastness of time. The message hidden in the Great Pyramid at Giza was addressed to a future civilization here on Earth. It is a message in a bottle, and it's addressed to us. Now we have to work out what that message means. Since they went to such incredible lengths to speak to us across time, it must contain information of utmost importance. The builders have precisely signaled the equinoxes again and again. They are pointing us to a critical astronomical cycle of our planet. Each star moves 1 degree every 72 years. It takes 26,000 years for a star to complete a full orbit of the planet. The constellations of the zodiac locate the Earth in the universe. The Pyramidion has a parameter precisely 12 cubits long. The presence of pi points us to a circle. Together, that refers to a 12-zone circle, the zodiac. The 4 angles of the pyramid refer to the 4 signs of the zodiac: Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. In the ancient world, Scorpio was represented by an eagle and Aquarius by an angel. These signs are carved in stone on the front of this cathedral. 4 stars belong to these 4 signs. They used to be called the 4 guardians of heaven. They are Aldebaran in the Taurus constellation, Regulus in Leo, Antares in Scorpio, and Fomalhaut on top of Pisces today, but previously in Aquarius. These stars keep the same position in relation to each other. They can be used as steady points of reference through time. This is the Taurus-Scorpio axis, formerly known as the Taurus-Eagle axis, shown by the Babylonians as a winged bull. This is the Leo-Angel axis. Its symbol is in front of our noses, here on the Giza Plateau. The Sphinx, a man's head on a lion's body. Archaeologists believe the Sphinx was built long after the Great Pyramid, but they may be wrong. Look at this. This triangle is the same shape as the Great Pyramid. One side runs through the Sphinx's head. If we outline the base of the Great Pyramid and shift it sideways and extend the right side, it hits the Sphinx's head. And if we trace a circle like this, once again we hit the Sphinx's head in exactly the same spot. This could be the answer we're looking for. Giza is an astronomical clock whose dial was the 4 stars. In addition, the clock's hand, the Sphinx's gaze, turns around itself every 26,000 years and lets us point precisely to the Earth's position in this big cycle. But how do we know when the cycle begins? There is a mysterious bump on the Sphinx's chest that Arabs call the lion's heart. The lion's heart is also the Arabic name for the brightest star in the Leo constellation, Regulus. The Sphinx has always been a symbol for enigma. She speaks to mankind with the famous riddle: who starts his day on 4 legs, continues on 2 legs, and finishes on 3 legs? Remember the answer: man and his destiny. When the Sphinx's eyes line up with the star Regulus, the lion's heart, then a new cycle of the equinoxes begins. This huge clock, our planet's clock, makes a full circle every 26,000 years. Everything we have looked at points to this. So why was it so important to draw our attention to this 26,000-year cycle?
Just to cement the point home, this is the last thing that our video is going to end on. Here we have the inside of the U.S. Capitol Dome. It's the most famous thing you see in America other than the Statue of Liberty or the Washington Monument. It's that big dome with the steeple on top. But if you go inside the dome and you look up, you see a painting in there, and this is the wide view of it, and it's called The Apotheosis of George Washington, and it's openly titled that. What does apotheosis mean? Man becomes God. And here, as you can see, George Washington is posing with all of the gods. They all have their little regalia. These are human extraterrestrials that came to the earth. They're being depicted here. He's now among them. And they show him sitting on a rainbow, which clearly indicates, if the gods weren't enough, that he has now ascended, because there are many illustrations of Jesus after his ascension also showing him sitting on a rainbow, indicating he's now in an ascended state. And if you go over to the Tibetan traditions, there are many, many illustrations of the rainbow body, which literally means that as you ascend and your body dematerializes, you start to get all these wonderful rainbow colors that are visible around you. That's the rainbow body state. Now here's something else that's very interesting. You see those little circles around the ring? There's a total of 72 of those circles. And of course the Earth's precession moves by 1 degree every 72 years. If you add up 72 times 360, that gives you your precessional cycle, the whole cycle of 25,920 years. Now inside each of those little circles is a 5-pointed star. And if you look really closely, there's a pine cone after every second ring. After every second circle is a little bitty pine cone mounted there, again showing the pineal gland symbolism. But let's look at those stars. There's 5 pointed stars, and there's 72 of them. You add that up, it's a total of 360 points. Now, if you take that 360 points, the total number of points, and then you multiply it again by the number of stars, which is 72, you come out with 25,920. This is one of the ways in which it is clear that the Founding Fathers wanted to encode this information about the precession into that illustration of what's going on around George Washington when he reaches apotheosis and he becomes a god. William Henry has talked extensively about this. This is really his domain. I want to give him full credit for that. His website is williamhenry.net. We've spoken together a bunch of times. He does a lot more on this than I'm going into now. Next, I want you to look at the side area below the tall windows. You'll see on the right-hand side a frieze, as it's called, F-R-I-E-Z-E. It's a long illustration of various events in American history that's around the dome. And there's various examples, you know, when the settlers came with the American Indians. But here's the one that I'm the most interested in. This is the moment where Cortez met Montezuma. And of course, as you look closely, you see Montezuma he's got the same interesting position of the gods. His hand is aimed at this fire that has a serpent in it. The serpent, again, is it represents the pineal gland, the fire of the pineal gland, the awakening. The serpent is the Uraeus, that Kundalini energy coming up. But notice what's behind Montezuma in this image. It's the Mayan calendar. The Mayan calendar that ends in 2012, inside the Capitol Dome. Just to make sure that you got